Hey, it's Dan Walton from Cast.Market, and you're listening to 360 Entrepreneur with Jan Ilanga.
This is episode 206, and today we talk about podcast advertising with a small audience. Here we go.
Welcome to the 360 Entrepreneur Podcast, the show for entrepreneurs and small business owners who dream big and want to do bigger. Join some of the world's top entrepreneurs, internet marketers, and best-selling authors as they share their inspiring stories, their struggles, and give actionable tips that will help you build, grow, and promote your online business. Here's your host, Jan Ilanga.
Hey, how's it going? I'm super excited about today for two reasons. First and foremost, because of today's episode, which is, in a way, the second part of last week's conversation. So last week, we started talking about podcast advertising with Glenn Rubenstein, and today we continue, and we're joined by Dan Walton from Cast.Market, who's going to share his insight on podcast advertising, including some things you can think about and do even if you have a small audience, which is great. And the second reason why I'm really excited about today is for the fact that the brand new show I told about last week, The Podcaster Lab, is here. I'm going to tell you more about that after the interview. Now, I want you to grab some pen and paper because Dan has some great advice to share. The show notes for today's episode can be found over at janilunga.com/episode 206. Again, that's janilunga.com/episode 206. All right, time to get started. Here's the interview with Dan Walton from Cast.Market. Today, we are joined by somebody who's really involved with different players in the podcasting world, and you're going to understand what I mean by that in a second. He's an entrepreneur, and he's the founder of Cast.Market, a website that is a marketplace that connects podcasters and sponsors. So whether you have a podcast and you're looking for sponsors, or maybe you tuned in because you have a business and podcasts and advertising on podcasts is something that have you been thinking about for a while, then you're in the right place. I'm so excited to welcome on the show Dan Walton. Dan, how's it going?
It's great. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much. And then I said, you do quite a lot for the podcasting community, for people in it. So I think the first question that I have to ask you is, can you take a moment to tell everybody how you ended up in the podcasting world?
I've always loved listening to podcasts, and I've always been fascinated with how they work. I love the sort of distributed nature where everyone can kind of make their own show and kind of operate how they like, and I've always been really fascinated by it. And I thought maybe I would kind of give something back. So we built Cast.Market, which is a way to find new shows and find also how popular the different shows are.
Love it. Thank you for mentioning that. And it's interesting because you're not the first person then who entered the podcasting world originally as somebody who listened to podcasts, and now you're somebody who's helping both podcasters and podcast advertisers. And I thought we could talk about podcast advertising a little bit from both perspectives, if that's okay with you. So from the perspective of podcast hosts and potential sponsors.
Sure, absolutely.
Great. Okay, so maybe we can start from the podcaster side. And I think the first question when it comes to that is I know that podcasters often tend to rush things, meaning they are just like, well, yeah, sponsorships, let's go, I want to make money. But I want that we actually start from the beginning. So then, what would you say are the first things podcasters should think about before they actually reach out to a potential sponsor?
I think that's a great question. I mean, one of the things I love about podcast sponsorship is that the podcaster has to feel that there's a good fit between the service they're talking about and their audience. So it's up to them, in order to create a quality show, to also talk about quality services and products. And that is something that doesn't happen in other parts of the advertising world. You're able to just put whatever ad you want. You could be watching a YouTube video and some ad could go up there that the host didn't really have any connection to. So the human connection between the products and services and the podcaster, I think, is really important.
The example you made then, it's so truthful, because sometimes we do hear some ads that we can clearly tell that there is a disconnect between the show and the actual ad, right?
Right. I mean, it's something that's off-putting to the audience. It doesn't do your show any good, and it might not be good for the sponsor either. So creating that fit between the service and the product and the podcaster and the audience is part of the magic that makes it seem natural and familiar.
I love what you just said then, because I think what you just shared with us, I really believe is something that is often overlooked, because as I said, as podcasters, sometimes we tend to just want to focus on the end result and we forget about things like thinking about whether that specific thing we want to sponsor on the podcast would actually be a good fit with our audience, with our style, with their overall direction of the podcast or not. So thank you for mentioning that. And I know that you with Cast.market, you deal with both podcasters and sponsors. So if you think about some of the users of Cast.market, always keeping podcast advertising at the back of our mind, what would you say are some of the traits, let's call them traits, that podcasts that have sponsors on them have? Are there some things you have noticed in common of podcasts that have advertising and it's like a good match?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the podcasts that typically participate in sponsorship are podcasts that are released on a regular schedule, that are professionally created, that have a decent audience, but it doesn't need to be a huge audience for this to work. If you have the right audience, it may not have to be large. So for instance, if you did a podcast about drones and drone enthusiasts and drone flying, and you're into the hobby of flying drones, and you had an audience that was small, it's so specific and so interesting to people who want to sell drones or possibly be in that discussion too, that a sponsorship would fit there.
That's a very good point, what you just said then about the audience. I mean, I agree with the first part as well. Obviously, there has to be quality and consistency. But the last point, it's something that I would like you maybe to elaborate more or double down on, because I think that sometimes podcasters tend to think that, I need to have a zillion listeners in order to have sponsors and make this relationship work. But you said it's not the case.
Exactly. I mean, it's a little bit of a myth. And in the past, it was true. You had to have a lot of listeners. And the reason why is because you had to work with a network of salespeople and different people that would really have to sell things at a high price and a more general audience in order for their operation to work. But with Cast.market, it's completely direct. People who want to sponsor shows can find your specific show on whatever it is you talk about, and they can create an offer to sponsor your show. And you get the choice of whether you want to accept it or if the price isn't right or whatever. I mean, you can choose to participate based upon those offers.
Okay, that point then, I think it's worth unpacking even more. So you told us how Cast.market works a little bit, and a question related to that is, how long would you recommend having a podcast sponsor relationship? Do you think it makes sense to have a sponsor for one episode and that's it? Would you recommend trying to have it for a few episodes?
Yeah, I think ideally you would maintain a relationship with the sponsor. The sponsor would be happy with the messaging and the way you've presented them, and you would be happy with that relationship and continue on. And you would also feel like it was a service for your listeners a little bit too, and not just an annoying advertisement. So as long as that's happening, I think the sponsorship should continue, and that's something that we support at Cast.market as well.
Okay, that's actually very good to know. And if you're here with Dan and I, you are hearing about Cast.market. I'll make sure to link to that in the show notes as well as everything else we cover so that you have it as a reference. Okay, then, so you told us some of the things to think about before actually reaching out to potential sponsors. You shared some of the things you think podcasts that are successfully using sponsors have in common. And now you told us a little bit more about Castmarket. When it comes to the actual pitch, let's call it pitch, from a podcast host to a potential sponsor, what do you think are the things that a podcaster should put emphasis on?
Well, I think that it's important to communicate that you have the right fit for their product or service, for their business, and that you have the right audience, but also that you have ways of engaging that audience that aren't otherwise possible. So, you have as a podcast host, you've got a connection with your listeners, and also you might have ways of including links and other social media that helps the sponsor know what kind of results they're getting and sort of how many people are actually being exposed to this messaging. So I think those two things can help encourage this process.
Okay, so thinking about what we have to offer to really maximize this relationship, it's something to think about. And what is your thought then on the quote-unquote digital real estate? Meaning one has a podcast, one may have a social media following, let's say on Twitter, hopefully one has an email list. So do you think those components outside the podcasting border, let's call them, are relevant and should be brought up and perhaps even leveraged when we're having this conversation, this discussion on whether we're gonna have this specific sponsor on or not and whether they're gonna accept our proposal?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, a podcaster typically isn't just somebody who has just a podcast.
Right.
They're people who have an audience, and podcasting is just part of it. Yeah, I think that this is a really good point. I think it's part of what makes podcasting powerful and makes sponsorship of podcasts so great.
Also because I think, the conversation we're having then, I think it's such an important one for the fact that I know, and I think this is something you probably still see too, that there are some podcasters that are still focused only on the traditional CPM sponsorship model that focuses only on the number of downloads, but doesn't take into consideration the fact that somebody may have a quote-unquote small audience when it comes to podcast numbers, but they may have a big email list or a very engaged, Facebook groups, and those could actually turn out to be beneficial if they are available to a potential sponsor, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because at Castmarket, we've been focused on the podcasting portion of this equation. We need to start adding ways of we need to allow podcasters to sort of list out the other channels they're able to reach as part of their profile. And I think this would be something that would benefit everybody. I mean, this is a great point.
Yeah. And, for everybody here, I'm not saying that, if you have 2 listeners, your mom and your dad, you should go and have a sponsor. But I'm saying that you shouldn't discard your email list subscribers if you have a Facebook group or something like that from the equation. If it's something you really think could be beneficial for the sponsor in terms of exposure, engagement, and conversions, then it's something that you should definitely bring up. And make sure, if you have a podcast, make sure to check out cast.market so that you can learn more about, number one, how the platform works, and number two, you're also going to be able to see some things that are going to help you find your unique angle. And then a question I have for you, always from the podcaster perspective before we shift, is do you have any advice on how to make a relationship with a sponsor a long-lasting one? I mean, if we connect and we hit it off well and it seems to be working on both sides, do you have any advice on something maybe we can do to try to keep that long-lasting collaboration?
Yeah, I think the first thing is you should understand who your sponsor is, and you should know kind of what their goals are, and you should know what their products and services are. You should know a lot about them. And then you should also get to know why your audience would be interested in that. And you should make an authentic connection between the two. And if you do that, the sponsor is going to hear that message, they're going to see that authentic connection, and they're going to continue the relationship. As you said, as time goes on, you're going to have other things to offer the sponsor in terms of email lists, special productions that you might make, special opportunities that come along, and letting them know about those and keeping the conversation fresh, I think is also going to help.
Man, I love it. Thank you, Dan, for sharing that. So you heard it. It's a dynamic process. It's just get started. And then as you grow together, you're going to find ways to collaborate further and for a longer period of time. And then before we change the angle of the conversation and we look at the potential sponsor perspective, is there something else you would like to add for podcasters? Is there maybe something we forgot to mention?
Yeah, I mean, Cast.Market is a free service, so you can go online and you can see how popular your show is in any country in the world. You can check out the popularity over time. You can say, hey, I didn't know that this particular episode was really popular in Italy, for example. Right. That's something that Cast.Market allows, but it also allows you to see the popularity of other shows too. So you can go and check out the popularity of your competition or similar shows, or maybe if you're thinking of starting a show, you could find out what kinds of shows do really well and are really getting listeners and which ones perhaps aren't. And so it's a tool that any podcaster can use. It's completely free, and that's aside. All those features are aside from the sponsorship connection that we'll try to make for you as well.
Dan, my headphones are on fire. What you just said sounded so interesting. Because you said it's something. Cast.Market isn't just a platform for those who are podcasting already, but it's also a platform one can use for their own research. So as you well said, if somebody is planning a podcast, for example, on a specific topic, they can take a look and see what kind of angle has been working well. So Cast.Market, definitely a place worth looking into. Okay, then, if now we turn the coin and we look at potential sponsors, this is kind of a no-brainer also because what we've talked about here so far applies to potential sponsors too. But if there is somebody here with you and I who has a business or is part of a company who have been thinking about advertising on podcasts, why should they think about podcasts as the medium?
I think that the main reason is because podcasters have an authentic connection with their listeners, and their goal is to take your message and bring it to them in a real way, in a way that's interesting and fits. I mean, this is something that you can't get with any other kinds of digital marketing. It's very powerful, and it's something that I think really any business or service could benefit from.
Well, you heard it. I don't have to add anything else. In case you were on the fence, hopefully what Dan Walton just said is going to help you go on that side and get started. Now Dan, when it comes to the sponsor's perspective, this is kind of a mirror question to what I asked a few minutes ago, but what should they think about before reaching out to the podcasts? Let me take a step back. If you and I then have a company and we want to advertise on podcasts, would you say that looking for podcasts that have a lot of downloads is a smart move?
Well, I mean, it depends. I think what you really want to do is you want to find something that fits your audience.
Right.
So it's not about size. It's about which host, which shows, which types of shows fit your product and services, and which ones have the audience that you want to reach. That's really the main thing. Now I will say that in the past, sponsoring podcasts was difficult. You had to either go to a large network that had general shows and not as many specific small shows. And because of that, they would charge large minimums. And it was prohibitive for some businesses and services to get involved, perhaps even risky because of these large minimums.
Right.
With Cast.Market, you can find very niche shows, very specific shows, and you can make offers directly to those with no minimums, without any kind of salespeople. You can sort of make the offer directly to the podcasts. And that's the service that we think will really help this podcasting take off.
And from the offer point of view then, if somebody is brand new to this whole podcast advertising thing, what advice would you have for them in terms of, how to price their offer, the offer they make to podcast hosts?
I think that having a concise message, something that goes on too long is probably not the best. A concise message is important. Including links to your service that you want them to talk about is important, because ultimately you want the podcaster to learn about your service and present it in their own voice and in their own style. The more you write, the less authentic it's going to be. So that's like one piece of advice about that. In other words, like don't try to control the podcaster too much. Give them a little bit of freedom about what they're able to say.
What you just said there, Dan, ties into what you were talking about at the beginning of the conversation, when you said about sometimes there is a disconnect between the host, the podcast, and the overall messaging of the sponsor. But you said if we, as the company that sponsors an episode or a series of episodes, try to leave some space for the podcaster to express the creativity, to connect with the audience in the way he or she knows how to do, then that's going to reflect on us and it's going to be beneficial. So when it comes to the actual advertising campaign, then is there a quote unquote relatively easy way to advertise on podcasts?
Oh yeah, I mean, Cast.Market is the easiest way that I know of. I mean, if you reach out to a host directly, you're going to get a lot of different types of responses, and sometimes the cost of doing all that communication can be higher than the amount that you want to pay the podcaster,
right,
in the case that they have a very, very specific show. So with Cast.Market, you can create an account, you can create an advertising campaign, type in a message, select some shows that you'd like to send offers to, and it's the campaign runs, and you get the episodes. You get emailed when the podcaster creates episodes with your message in it. You can hear the message. You can add new podcasters to the campaign at any time, and you can also say I want to take that person out of my campaign for future campaigns too. So it's really the easiest way to manage the process of advertising on podcasts.
Well, you heard it. An additional reason why you should check out Cast.Market. And again, it doesn't really matter whether you have a podcast, you don't have a podcast, or you aren't interested in podcasting as the host, rather as the sponsor. Then Cast.Market can help you with that. And then when it comes to measuring the success of an advertising campaign, it's true that every company is different. So the definition of success could change a little bit, but what would you say are some of the things that can be done to keep track of what's happening and maybe improve the campaign, if that's even possible?
Yeah, I mean, this is always the big question. And in advertising today, people track almost everything that happens with digital advertising. Podcasting, it's a little trickier, right, because the metrics aren't quite as precise, but it doesn't matter. These people still have a lot of impressions. They're still influencers. They're still people who are enthusiasts about the products and services and topics they're talking about. I think that one way you can sort of improve the tracking of things is by including a coupon code or a call to action. So in your message you could say, hey, use coupon code XYZ in order to get some kind of discount. You can ask them to go to a specific webpage. These types of things are always going to help.
Great. Thank you so much. I think that was very helpful because, I mean, as we said, it's different from company to company. And then, as you said, then for podcasting is a little bit trickier to keep track of everything, but still there are some things we can do as sponsors to keep track of our campaigns. And then we mentioned the site Cast.Market. I'll make sure to link to that in the show notes. I know there are different sections in the Cast.Market marketplace, so I'll link to the different ones in the show notes. If somebody would like to connect with you, maybe to ask you questions about Cast.Market or simply to say thank you, what would you say is the best way to do that?
Just email me at dan@Cast.Market. I get emails from podcasters all the time. I do my best to answer them and help out as much as I can.
Great, thank you. And to wrap it up, then I have a two-folded question. One part is for podcast hosts and the other one for podcast sponsors. So to wrap it up, number one, do you have any final tip, word of encouragement, anything for podcasters who are looking for advertisers or who are thinking about podcast sponsorships?
Yeah, I mean, the best advice I can say is log into Cast.market. And, also another way to find sponsors is to sort of sponsor your own show. When you're doing your show, say, hey, I'm looking for sponsors for the show, or any way you want to say it. I'm open to receiving sponsorship. You can find my show at Cast.market. And we can even include a discount code for you to say on the air.
Great. Thank you so much for making that available. And now the same question from the different perspective. So do you have anything to add for businesses who have been thinking about sponsoring podcasts?
I'd say try it. We're ready to receive the offers at Cast.market, and there's, as I said, there's no minimums. There's nothing to really prohibit you from giving it a shot. If you get results, you can continue with the campaign. If not, then find another way. I mean, it's totally available, and as I said, there should be no barrier to giving it a try.
Great. Thank you so much, Dan, for your advice, for being here, and overall for what you and the rest of the Cast.market team do for both podcasters and podcast advertisers. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been a lot of fun.
And we are back. You heard it. Cast.market is a tool that can really help you get started with podcast advertising if that's something you've never done before, or it can also help you navigate the waters of the podcast advertising world. There is so much potential, so many opportunities out there, and something like Cast.market can help you understand which way to go and can help you keep track of things. And as you heard, if you have a business, then Cast.market can help you as well, because it provides you an overview of different shows, so you may find some potential podcasts to collaborate with. At the beginning of this episode, I told you about The Podcast Lab, which is here. The Podcast Lab is the brand new show I literally just launched, and is an entire podcast dedicated to podcasting, which is pretty cool. But it's not your typical podcast about podcasting. Here's the different thing. I'm going to be discussing podcasting with a different format. So it's going to be you and I in some episodes. In other episodes, we're going to be joined in the lab by a series of experts. So more experts at the same time. There's going to be some sound, some special effects, some pretty cool stuff. The link to that, as well as everything else Dan Walton and I have talked about, can be found in the show notes over at janilunga.com/episode 206. This is it for today. Thank you so much for joining Dan Walton and I here in this new episode of the 360 Entrepreneur. And if you're curious to hear more about what I'm doing, to hear more about my new show, The Podcaster Lab, make sure to check out the show notes page for today's episode. I'll be back next week, as pumped as today. And since Easter is around the corner, happy Easter.
Thank you for listening to the 360 Entrepreneur Podcast. For more tips and tools, head over to www.janilunga.com.